Call the Oliver Springs Town Council meeting to order at this time. Please stand. Will you lead us in the pledge, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brother Joe, would you lead us in prayer? Please mention the Normandy invasion and World War II.
Well, I was going to elaborate on that and remind everybody that this is June 6th, the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion in the coast of Normandy. If you watch the news, it's been on probably every channel, the honoring of the efforts during World War II to liberate Europe. So although this is following the pledge to the flag, it is an anniversary date, so I think we would recognize that. And as a footnote, in this day and age of politically incorrect prayer in public meetings, I would call your attention to President Roosevelt when he was on the radio and made the announcement of the invasion of D-Day. He led the nation in prayer. The President of the United States prayed to the Almighty God of the Bible. This is historical. You can read it. I was reminded of this. I'm a historian by profession too, and I was aware of this, but on the news channels I watched, they repeated it several times. But the President of the United States led the nation in prayer that we would ultimately be victorious, and the prayer was directed to the living and eternal God of the Bible. I would also point out, if you read the Sentinel today, and I knew this, that when the D-Day invasion news was released at 2 or 3 a.m. here in the United States, churches opened their doors, and members of the church and passers-by and workers who may or may not be members of the church went in to offer prayers in support of that. And in this day and age when prayer and Bible study and the worship of the true and living eternal God of the Bible is politically incorrect and frowned upon and litigated, and judges rule in the favor of or rule against the celebration, historically our people and our nation and our judges are going against the godly historical background, which doesn't mean separation of church and state. It meant the government could not have a state church funded by taxpayer dollars. But the founders believed that the Christianity was contained in the heart of each individual. And when you come to a government meeting, you bring your heart with you. And when you believe in God in your heart, that belief is in your heart, then you cannot separate a representative who believes in God from his feelings, his decisions, her feelings, her decisions, and leadership in government. So, with that in mind, if we'll bow our heads, I will lead us in a prayer. Our Father, we come to you and we thank you for the generations of servicemen and women who have gone before us and led the efforts to keep our country safe and free, led the efforts to keep other nations and other people safe and free. We pray that you will give our leadership of our nation, our people of our nation, great wisdom that only comes through the Holy Spirit, that we can do these great things for you and be successful in the administration of our government, in the operation of our government, and the work of our people. We turn our attention now to our meeting here tonight where we're gathered. We pray that you would give us wisdom to take the resources we have and use them to bring honor and glory to you and offer services and other activities for our citizens. We pray for our servicemen and women home abroad, and we ask that Christ would come quickly and bring world peace. We ask all these in thy Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen. We will he reminded me to have a roll call, but first I want to say, there's about 480,000 World War II veterans left, and there's about 480 die each day. So keep your, and prayers for those aged families, please. Okay, roll call, please.
Robert Miller.
Here.
Jeff Bass.
Here.
Kenny Brown.
Here.
Terry Holland.
Here.
Don Simmons.
Here.
Okay. Approval of minutes from the last meeting. Everyone had a chance to review and pick them.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve, need a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Call the roll, please, Joe.
Robert Miller.
Yes.
Jeff Bass.
Yes.
Kenny Brown.
Yes.
Terry Holland.
Yes.
Don Simmons.
Yes.
Passed.
This time, is there any citizen who would like to come forward and give us information, or
Yes, I would.
please state your name and your address, please.
I'm Darrell Bourne. I live at 703 Orange Circle. Most of y'all know me. I've been with the water department nearly 29 years. And this is the second time I've ever come before the council. First time was last year over this insurance.
Same thing this year, I guess.
Same thing this year.
Continue.
I've been beating my head on the wall for months now with this insurance. I go to my annual checkup, he sends me to a specialist, have tests done, insurance denies it. Doctors appeal it, insurance denied it again. So I get a $3,300 bill. 3 weeks after that, my wife has surgery. Insurance denies it. I've had to take a second job last week just to try to pay what the insurance is not paying. Our agent might be the nicest woman in the world, but I've got zero help from her. I get more help in drive-through McDonald's about my insurance. I feel like it's on everybody's, with everything that's going on in the city, it's everybody's bottom priority. Nobody's, I feel like somebody needs to take charge of the insurance. I mean, this is by far, you can ask any employee we have, this is by far the worst insurance we've ever had. By far. This right here is nearly 90 pages of stuff that I've had to go borrow a computer and a fax machine to send our insurance agent. And still, I got BJ, she's helped me more than anybody.
She's tried very hard.
For well over a month, she's been calling, sending stuff back and forth. 2 days ago, BJ was talking to her, and she tells BJ this is the first she's heard of it. Has nothing on it.
She's heard it from Thomas and me also, but
I mean, I don't understand. I just feel like it's slipping through the cracks.
Well, I
Because
think
of
the lady, excuse me, but I think the lady has suffered a stroke over Memorial Day weekend, from what I have understood. And she's back at work trying her best to get back in touch with things.
But even before then, I mean, I'm getting nothing accomplished, and like I said, I've had to take a second job, and I received a thing that says that if I will pay this by June 12th, this $3,300 bill, I pay $1,300.20, I pay $1,320, excuse me. By the 12th, they will call this good. So I took a second job, and I'm gonna go Monday and get a signature loan to pay this, and what I'm not paying on my wife, which is over $1,000. But I just wanna ask that somebody will move our insurance up the priority list, because I seen on the news just 3 or 4 months ago, before any of this happened, that Tenova won't even accept our insurance no more. Because the reason they stated on the news was because they're not paying out. They're getting stuck with too many bills, so they won't even take their insurance no more. I just want to ask if that would be moved up a priority list to, to get our insurance fixed.
So we got anybody at state level can help us on this?
That we can, what we need to probably do is get the insurance committee started back up and have them go through the different plans with help with the broker that, who's paying, and shop around and find better insurances. But with insurances come costs, so that's something we'll have to wrestle with as well.
That's very true, but we need to try to get him some relief if what, in fact, the procedures he said done was documented properly.
I think,
If he had to have prior approval, I can see sometimes they give you a hard time, but they normally give in.
I went to the doctor Friday for my 6-month checkup following this because of what the test they done there showed this time. They wanted to do the same thing again, and I told them no, I can't afford another $3,300. And he says insurance paid. I said, no, they won't. Last year, we had, when Cecil was mayor, went through a lot of the same stuff. He had them come down and have a meeting at least twice, if not 3 times here, trying to get this straightened out. I mean, it's just an ongoing thing. And, we're 2 years in and it ain't got no better. I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
My wife and I have had various tests and procedures that have been several $1,000s, perhaps similar to yours. And I found out through my wrangling with the insurance agent, the insurance company, that the $4,500 processing of the city's portion of the health savings account contract expired December 31st and wasn't renewed. And so a number of bills that got turned in that were incurred after January 1st did not get paid because there was no contract. Now, it turned out that the contract is on a calendar basis, and I think the health insurance is on a fiscal year basis, which is kind of a uh-oh, and we had a changeover in city managers, and that the contract was on the computer, but just staff didn't pick up on the need to get it signed. It got signed. So that could be a particular problem. And I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying that there has been some administrative problems. And I agree that our agent needs to come down and meet with you and the mayor and the city manager and look at all your bills and see what the snafu is.
Well, we've seen her all, 88 pages all together the other day and separate ones over and over.
See, this, from the health insurance standpoint, when you go to the doctor and he pulls up your policy, it shows a $5,000 deductible. And what happens is when you incur, say you have a $10,000 procedure, and the insurance will pay $5,000, and there's a $5,000 deductible that you are responsible to pay. The city, when you incur that bill and you get your portion bill for $5,000, you send it to the insurance agent in Oak Ridge, and she submits it to this processor who bills the city for $4,500, and the processor then sends you a check for $4,500 that you endorse and give to the doctor. That's in a perfect world.
That's if they don't deny it.
Yeah. Now, if the insurance company denies it, then that is an underwriting decision by the insurance company, which the town may or may not have any control over.
Well, like I said, I'm just here to bring it, make sure y'all understand that I feel like it's falling through the cracks and
Generally,
everything that's going on.
when the insurance company denies you, it says that we deny it because it's not covered or it's not necessary. They'll tell you in the letter why they deny it. Now, it may not be real specific.
And the doctors appealed it and they denied it again. I mean, this is not a test that I asked for. This is one my doctor said I need.
Yeah.
And he's one he's saying I need again that I'm not having done. I just,
Well, sometimes the doctor wants to do this test and the insurance company will pay for that test, which is very similar. And they feel like this second test is the one the doctor should run. And see, that's the insurance company second guessing your doctor.
Okay, excuse me, can we set up a meeting with her and let's do this thing one more time?
Yeah, what we can do a couple things. We can set a meeting up with Pam as well and try to get
She
this
might not
worked
bring
out.
somebody with her, who works under her or with her system or something.
Elizabeth King works above her, I believe, and Mark
Marty Palmer's your boss.
Palmer.
Well,
Yeah.
we might ought to ask him if he's take time out of the day to come help us answer some questions.
Is this who you talked to when we were trying to decide the final insurance company that started Wheeling and Dillon?
Yes, Mark Palmer was the gentleman that was
I
here.
don't know, I wasn't.
So it was Mark instead of the Pam one.
Yeah, Pam was just the person that they.
We'll look into it again
worked
with you,
us.
bud, and we'll let you, try to keep you informed, you keep us informed.
Mark,
thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. Anybody else, any citizen?
Hello, my name is Julia Daniel, and I'm at 116 Hopper Road, and I'm here on behalf of the Mamie Carmichael School Organization. I would like to extend an invitation to everyone for a fish fry and chicken wings, which will take place on June the 14th. Starts at 11 a.m., and this is sponsored by the Mamie Carmichael School Organization, and it's at 1069 Tri-County Boulevard. That's near the beach park area, the flag, the beautiful cross. And we'd like to extend an invitation to everyone.
Is that the old antique place?
Oh, boy, I don't
No,
know
that
where
was,
the antique is. Tri-County, this is at Tri-County, you know where beach park is,
I
on
understand that, but it
Tri-County.
used to be a mall, an old
Yes.
antique thing, I thought that was what,
It's right next to the David Hall,
Baton
Yes.
area? Okay.
It's
so
right
that's
there
where
next
it
door.
took place. So everyone's invited. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
You're welcome.
God bless you.
It's my turn, and I'm gonna say that there's a meeting at Norwood School Wednesday at 6 p.m. to discuss things affecting Norwood School and community.
Should I?
Yes, sir, you're up next, I'm sorry.
My name is Cecil Crow. I live at 720 Darby Road here in Alma Springs. We did have a public meeting to discuss the historic district, and even though the mayor told them multiple times that it wasn't ready for a vote, a lot of people didn't understand that. Two of the local people agreed to help us revise that. We did have a meeting with that last week. We've got another meeting set up for next week to review all of our changes, just to make sure that everybody's comfortable with those. I would really like to request that you set up another public meeting sometime in the month of July, again, to review that with the people, but review that, let the committee review it with the people, and let the people ask questions, and let the committee answer those questions.
You have a date that you would like, or you want us to make one? Can we make it
Second-
the last meeting in this month and then set the date then?
Yeah. The second council meeting in July, right before it, that'll give everybody plenty of time.
That way
but
everybody
there
can
was-
hear most likely.
When we really talked to the people after the meeting, they really didn't understand what it was really all about. So I think, given that was the second time around, everybody will
What time?
take a better
Sir,
look
What
at that.
time? 5, 6?
I guess, about 30,
5 o'clock, or take a while.
5 o'clock? Some people can't make 5 o'clock out here. It's kind of, I'd like for everybody on the board can be here too. It affects everybody. So, 5
Hey,
o'clock.
y'all need to be here.
5 o'clock.
It's kind of hard to be here when you're not working till 5:30 here in Knoxville.
You get your helicopter.
Still gonna be late.
Cecil,
Okay, sir.
this next meeting is, to
To
review
review.
what y'all talked
Yeah.
about. Is that a public thing too, or something?
No.
Okay,
that's
well,
just
we
a
will,
committee.
let's get straight what I expect it to be. I'll just say it's, this is a town committee called to order, and they're going to present a plan.
Yes.
And then we'll ask you
That-
guys to ask questions.
Yeah.
And we'll still chair the meeting as
Do we want to send them a notice like we did before by mail with a copy of the proposed plan?
Yeah.
I guess we better.
It'd be a good idea to give them the updated one.
We can send this one first class mail, but send,
When we have our meeting next week, we'll review the changes again. And on the zoning provisions, it has everything that we changed striked out with the new verbiage highlighted in red and bold. So they'll actually see what was changed and what was added.
okay.
Down at the park, the restrooms, they're atrocious. It's an embarrassment to everybody in the city, and I know it's an embarrassment to you folks. We budgeted $60,000 last year to do those restrooms. My question is, have we carried that money over into our next year's budget, and do we have a timeline for completing that?
Yes, not during this budget, but the money hasn't been spent, so it will be earmarked in the next meeting to be carried over into the next year's budget. Because if you re-budget for it, it takes away from something, but that money hasn't been spent, so it's been collected. So we're going to carry it over as an earmark, as a resolution. I talked with Rupi, and the staff at the prison is at an all-time low. The skilled inmates are not as available as they used to be. They're down to 3 skilled crews. One is the very skilled crew that he would want to do the project, and they're booked up. We're on the schedule, but by now we're about 4 or 5 months out before they can get here to finish it.
We have a problem finding a plumber, a licensed plumber to do the plumbing
Yeah, we've
before we get
called-
started.
We've called a ton of them, and they'll either stand you up, or they're too busy, or they just flat out can't do it.
Jerry Johnson was on our Citizens Advisory
And I
Committee.
called Chris Inman, and he was gonna do it for free, and he's strung me along this whole time for over a month, or 2 months, and I was supposed to meet with him a couple Fridays back, and he just doesn't come. Chris Inman's his plumber, Jerry Johnson's plumber.
But could I, you want to talk to Jerry, or I can, either one?
Well,
We're not having Citizens Advisory Committee.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
is his plumber's?
That's Jerry's plumber, Chris Inman, and Chris has agreed to
Maybe
do
we
it.
can call him.
But I
and
can't get him down here to do it. I'm even willing to pay him. It's just there's too much work for plumbers is what I've heard, that there's too much building going on.
Jerry can help you with that, though,
Yeah.
because Jerry keeps 4 to 5 houses going all the time, so he provides plenty of work for his people, and, you know, they want to keep him happy.
But I did contact the plumber that Jerry uses, and I even used Jerry's name and everything. And he agreed to do it, but he just still hasn't come out. That's where I'm at. I'm just stuck.
If you'd like me, I'll call Jerry Johnson.
Tell him to come out
I'll
and give
call
us
Jerry.
look at the plans and give us
You
a
know,
parts
have
list, what
parts
he
in the
needs,
file.
and we'll get it and get it
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, because, I mean, we're willing to pay. We just need someone to show up. We've called a bunch of plumbers.
And we will be inspected, so it has to be a licensed plumber.
Yeah, it has to be licensed.
Everybody's booked up, there's no doubt about that. Everybody that's,
Yeah, we'd be glad to get it started. I got called the other night, a real nasty call, and I got an email, and I got other mail that I didn't look at.
And
And they were complaining about toilet paper and towels, and well, the toilets were stopped up because the towels have been used for toilet paper and flushed down the commode. We sent prisoners down there to clean it up, we painted the floors, we ordered a case of toilet paper, a case
they
of
tore it up
towels,
the next day.
and it's tore up the next day.
Go look at the paint. That paint was beautiful, and now it's all tore up. I don't know.
It's just hard to-
I don't know.
I know, we also had sidewalks repaired about 1,200 feet in our budget this year, and
We're still
due to all the
working on
rain and
sidewalks.
everything, that just got delayed, and now we're in the mowing season. So are we carrying that money over as well?
There is $900 earmarked from last year's budget for sidewalk repairs, and that'll need to be carried over too, if that's a priority.
Now, you know, I know I left everybody with several projects, and I'm just trying to follow up with those now. But I had talked to TDOT about the overpasses and how dirty the overpasses and the medians were. And they did tell us that if we would clean them, they would provide the paint if a civic organization would paint those. Now, school's in session, out of session right now, but when they come back in session, it would be a good opportunity for them to get some of their community service hours. So just keep that in mind. Also, we had a landscaper that had agreed to do landscaping on the entrance to downtown, but our responsibility was to go in and trim the trees and trim the brush back, and he was going to maintain that for us. So if we can get that on a schedule somewhere, it'd help. Speaking of the school, they got a big request. I think all of you probably know that there was $5 million budgeted to convert the middle school and move the high school into the middle school. Well, the number's gone from $5 million to $10 million. And the school board is trying to decide what to do. And one of their alternatives is to pull the plug and just not do the project at all.
Not do the project and get a giant school.
Now, we
That's
just,
planned.
Oliver
I'll
Springs,
say that on TV, that's planned.
Oliver Springs just got certified as a STEM school. There's only 26 public schools in the state of Tennessee, and Oliver Springs is one of those. What I would request, or what I would like to request, is that the mayor and the city manager send a letter to both the school board and the county commission supporting our local school.
I have it coming from the other direction, but this thing on the school, as you well know, you've attended more meetings than I have, they're gonna get what they want in their own county. They're gonna get one school for all people. And the way of doing it is raising the price 100% on modifying this school, Midway School, and that's how they do it. And you know that, as you're a politician, you know how it works, or you practice politics a little bit. And that's the way it works, and I don't mind telling the world about it. That's the way it's working in Washington right now. That's why we can't get nothing done, because one party is trying to do something and not allowing the other party to do anything. And yes, I will write them a letter, and I will write a very positive letter, and I'll probably mention this in that letter, what I just said. And based on that, that's all I can do.
Now, there is a meeting, I think it's next Tuesday, with the school board. And I plan on attending that as a citizen because I'm concerned about our schools. Our community raised $120,000 to get us into a position where we could convert to a STEM school. The community did that, not the school.
What day is it?
I think it's next Tuesday. I'll check to see.
If it's not Wednesday, I'll try to attend, but if it's Wednesday, the Lord comes first. And
Sure.
they normally try to schedule things on those days, like we do our ball games on Wednesday and Sunday nights, Sunday evenings.
We've got two
I ain't gonna
schools.
preach too much longer.
We've got two schools in Rome County that are STEM certified, Midway and Oliver Springs. And originally they agreed to keep both of those schools open and consolidate the other three.
That's what the county said they would do, but right now, as you can see, the money figures are changing, and they won't have no option other than go to one major school.
Well, if,
That's what they're gonna push.
if the
I'll
little,
show up at every meeting on that, but I will write a letter, and Thomas can sign on it, I'm sure, and probably the council.
if the Lewis group missed their estimate by 100% on the Oliver Springs portion of it, which is a small portion, does that mean the $60 million for the consolidation is gonna be 130, 120? We don't know.
Well,
But we don't know whether the specs changed or whether they just didn't do a good job estimating. But I would appreciate everybody's support for our high school.
well, as long as I serve here, and I think Thomas feels the same way, and I think these 6 gentlemen feel the same way, we'll do everything we can for the schools
Thank you.
and the town of Oliver Springs.
So did we set the public meeting date yet, or we're gonna do it at the next meeting?
Last Thursday in July.
Okay, the 18th.
July 18th, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's the early one,
5:30.
yeah, it's early.
The council meeting Thursday or the very last?
Very last council meeting.
What time,
The
5:30
Sir,
or what?
5 o'clock's what we said, wasn't it?
5 o'clock, the 18th.
Okay, we need to, okay, is anybody else in the audience scared to speak? I'm not trying to be harsh with the ex-mayor or Mayor Crowe. It's just that sometimes I get aggravated on the way we handle money and we do votes. You know, we voted on this a year or two ago in the school system and the public won. But the public got rid of the school board and the Rowan County Commission and changed where we had to vote all over again. And you agreed to that. And they'll do it again, till they get what they want, and they'll get what they want. If we don't stand together. And that's what we gotta do, and you gotta do it in volume. You can't just do one or two people. You gotta get the whole community backing it and decide what we want and go do it. Okay, I got a pleasant thing coming up now. So would the three officers come forward, please? And the chief? Hey man, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you, sir. See you. Even good to see you, Mr. Captain Laxton. Yes, sir. All right. Thanks, sir. I'm gonna stand on this side where I lay this down. I'm gonna stand back here, you guys stand behind me or with me or whatever. On behalf of the town of Oliver Springs, I would like to take this opportunity to commend Captain David Laxton, Patrolman Uze Hamby, I'm saying that wrong, I know, Patrolman Ryan Williams for their resolve and dedication to solving a vehicle theft, a home burglary, and 2 business burglaries in less than 3 days. Due to Captain David Laxton's Patrolman Hamby, Patrolman Ryan Williams, and I missed one, didn't I? Okay, I got it right. Hamby and Williams. Determination, drive to solve these crimes, the town of Oliver Springs now a safer place to live. Facts: on May the 12th, 2019, Oliver Springs Police Department investigated a report of a vehicle theft and a burglary. During the investigation, the officers followed up on information which led to the suspect being identified. Upon locating the suspect, Captain David Laxton was able to gain a confession during the suspect's interview, which linked the suspect to all 4 crimes. As a result of the level of professionalism, dedication to their job, Captain David Laxton, Patrolman Hamby, Patrolman Williams, and I missed someone again, I'm so sorry, was able to recover an assortment of stolen property and quickly apprehended the suspect. Their actions are indicative of the level of character, training, and experience which these officers possess, and is indicative of the caliber of personnel employed by the town of Oliver Springs Police Department. My sincere thanks to Captain David Laxton, Patrolman Hamby, and Patrolman Williams for the job well done. Gentlemen, put this in there, and I'll give the chief one to put in your file, and we certainly appreciate your job, good job you're doing for the city. And continue, and I know you will, and the TV guy put a mic over here for me to step on. I guess he wants sound effects.
Talk about that.
Okay, and I'll give the chief one to file. Did you get one?
Do you have a copy for me?
Yes, I do, sir. Give these guys a hand, please. Those will be entered in the minutes and be entered in their record. Here you go, Chief.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir. And while I'm recognizing those guys, we will have a later recognition of the chief and his force and Oak Ridge force and Clinton force and on raiding 3 houses and arresting 9 people and confiscating a bunch of drugs. So they'll be receiving an award or a letter anyway. We don't have the money to give them much of an award except thanks, and we'll be doing that in the near future. Thank you, Chief. Your job well done.
Thanks, sir.
City manager update.
Yes, sir. The cemetery lots are now for sale, and anyone interested in purchasing one is welcome to come by City Hall. We're open from 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, and the lots are $500 apiece. The on-call policy that was passed last month has started June 3rd, and there will be a total of 3 people on call. There will be a sewer collections on call, a water distribution on call, and a streets on call. This will help with speed and availability of people during emergencies. And that's all I've got.
Okay. Now, council members, Mr. Miller.
Last time we spoke, Thomas, we spoke about the little bridge out here on Midway.
Yes, I've got to get a quote on that. I found the company that's able to do it. I'm thinking it's going to be around 9,000 per side, I believe. Is that the one on Midway? It has the concrete barriers, correct?
Yeah, the little,
It's like a curve,
probably
on
10
each side
inch,
of the
12
Yeah.
inch
Yeah.
on each side of it.
I don't know how they can attach to it without drilling into it. let me get with them and I'll find out. I'll find out. I have the company all set up to get a quote for that, but
Okay.
I haven't got it done yet.
Okay. That's all I have at this time.
Mr. Bass?
Have you heard anything about this auto warrant? We got it back yet?
Well, oh, no, sir, we haven't heard back from them yet. It's sent down to the dealer. We sent it out to a local guy to get it fixed, but it was over what he could do, so we sent it out to the dealer to get it fixed. And we think it is going to be a couple months before it comes back.
I'll tell you a little something about that, Jeff. They sent the dually tractor. We sent one to dually year before last. It stayed there 5.5 months before we got it back. And they was just breaking the clutch in it. So they don't get in no hurry, and no matter how much pressure you put on, it's at their time and their convenience to fix it. So we may be looking a whole mowing season before we get it back.
Yeah.
I seen he's been out on the Ford, so I guess it's a good thing we didn't surplus it.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, we have the wrong deck on that mower anyway. The blue mower is made for brush and not grass. That's what the blades, you know about the setup on it.
Yeah, but it's identical to the one I run in Kingston.
Yeah, I know, does he cut grass real well? Well, we must not have the blades on the right, and this one don't cut grass well. And we were told by the company that, the deck company, that was the wrong blades we were using, the wrong deck we were using for grass. It was for brush, it's for heavy brush.
That deck's the same deck that,
Okay. Okay, all we can do is take people's word for it, and I'll take your word for it, because you have one of them.
That's all I have at this time, then.
You don't have anything? Mr. Bass?
That was it.
That's it? Okay. Mr. Brown?
I'm just curious, these people, the sewer people, repairs the sewer lines, they've made a mess out of that Harnell and Heen Valley, making that turn. They've got looks like an 18-wheeler down through there the other day, and they just tore all that up, that y'all fixed. Are they just gonna get through and then fix it, or are we gonna have to go behind them?
Well, they come out with different crews. They have like one crew that does lining, one crew that does camering, one crew that does road repairs. So they kind of send them, they kind of just sort of all working like an orchestra. If you need, I will have them make that a top priority and come out.
I appreciate
Mr. Brown, they come down there and do work with you?
Who?
Mr. Brown? Not done.
No, nobody's done anything on the Heen Valley Road slide there either.
Yeah, that we're waiting on FEMA stuff.
No, okay.
That's gonna be a long way.
What about the street lights for Wiley, then from Mr. Coker's house? We talked about that.
We turned those into CEMC, that's my old electric company, the CED. We
Yeah.
turned them into them, and I haven't heard back.
Okay. I didn't know if this pole was appropriate or,
I'm sure it'd be fine.
whatever, if somebody already got the lights or not.
And I'll double check on that.
They'll furnish the lights and the hookup, we just, and we'll put
We
it.
just had, I think we just had 4, didn't we, or 5,
Mhm, Yeah.
surplus?
Yeah, we took down 2, I think, they had 6 we could use, yeah.
Okay, all right, that's all I have.
Mr. Holland?
On this state street aid on the electric, that's 44,000. What's the example of that? Is that street lights or
Yes, that's for street lights, for State Street.
that's?
It's all the street lights and the traffic lights on the 4 lane.
That we get
That cost
repaired
months.
every so. That's for. And did we get the bill for that last traffic
No.
spot yet?
Talking about the repair over here? No, we've not gotten anything on that.
So just curious.
But that doesn't include repair on those, that's just for electricity
Yeah,
on
that's
those.
electricity.
Right, yeah, oh, we used to.
That's gonna come up again later on, I think. Okay,
That's all.
that's all, Mr. Holland? Mr. Shillings?
I just want to remind, I bring it up every meeting, let's don't forget our charter. We need to have a meeting on our charter, change
Anytime you're
it.
ready. Anytime you wanna meet.
Well, it's up to y'all, anytime's good with me.
Well, it's pretty much done. The MTS is looking at it, so they, as soon as they write it.
I thought we just had to change 2 things.
Yeah, we've changed those, but they found other things, its wording is, We call, wording is calling us, half the time we're a city and half the time we're a
Town.
town.
Yeah.
And they'd like for that all to read the same, because sometimes the meaning changes a little bit. And
Oh,
Joe has explained the reasons, that
All we gotta do is make, change it, right? Can we just change it, say, okay?
yeah, we can do that. Anytime you're ready, I got the package laying around the desk.
Why don't you send it out and let's look at it?
Yeah.
I'll send it to you in the morning.
I mean, I'm saying to everybody.
Yeah, I'll send it to everybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of lengthy, but
Put it on the next agenda.
we can do that.
But you gotta be,
The next time? Well, this time it wasn't, nothing else went on.
And we got a historical meeting too.
I just don't wanna.
No,
let it
that's
go
not
through
on
the
our
cracks.
agenda.
I mean,
That's
we
on-
can't even get a city councilman to fill a slot here. That's why we need changes. Need to update it.
Okay, yes. I think I've spoken to you before on this, I'm gonna do it as politely as I can without hurting anybody's feelings, I hope. There's nobody but this council wants that change that I can find out. The change that you're so interested in as far as two at large, because they all, this side of the railroad says Norwood will have 4 council members on there. Have you heard it or not?
Whatever y'all wanna do, it don't matter, man. I tried my best, you know.
You've done a good job trying.
You know, it's, you can't even get people to
Why
sit on
did-
planning commission.
Let me ask you a question, sir.
Council.
Let me ask you a question, sir. Why wasn't this done before when we took over?
Well,
How was it
that's
done?
something that,
It was made up already. Why wasn't it sent in and corrected?
what's the big argument about it? I mean, what's the big deal about having two?
Why was the
people
big deal it
involved?
wasn't sent in? There must have been some reason that we didn't send it in.
He said it come back because of the city and town and the appeals for the city.
That's correct, because if things weren't corrected, when you send something to the state, so when you got.
So it's like simple, all we gotta do is change that. And
I'll bring it before the council, let the council decide, okay? Next meeting.
Okay,
Okay. Zara?
yes, sir.
Okay. Police chief?
I've got one thing. I've got a car I'm having, it's got a motor, one of our Dodges, it's got the top end of the motor out, and I've got some quotes on fixing it.
How many Dodgers we got? 3?
3. We did one of these a couple of years ago, and it's the whole top end, the cam, lifters, everything on it. This one is, for Dodge to repair the top end of the motor is $4,889 is the estimate they gave me. The car has, the bottom end of the motor has 91,000 miles on it. I had them price me a new Dodge motor. Their price is $8,400, almost $8,500.
477.
Yeah, that's a completely new motor. The last estimate I got is from RT Clapp, and they priced me a Jasper engine at $7,300. But $7,300, and if we put another $250 with it, which is made right at 75, it'd be a 3-year, 100,000 mile warranty.
So your wishes are?
To get my car fixed.
Chief, did you check with Rex? Spoon?
The Jasper engines are all gonna be about the same. I mean, I can check with him and get a quote from him on it.
He don't use Jasper.
Yeah, they use something else down there.
He uses another.
When we checked with them before, they were as high as anybody else when we checked on that Crown Vic. Remember, we ended up
Jerry
going
Duncan.
to Jerry Duncan, because he was several $100s cheaper. But I checked with him, get a price from him, see if he can come anywhere close to it.
So we got 2 estimates. The third one is.
What was the service, I mean, warranty on that for 3 years?
For another $250 above this, Jasper will give one to us for a 3-year, 100,000 mile warranty on a full engine.
That would be accreted.
Yeah,
That's a reconditioned.
you know, they said it's a
rebuilt.
Jasper rebuilt motor, it's a Jasper reconditioned motor.
Reman motor.
The one from Dodge is a brand new motor, but their warranty is less than that,
It's not 3-year, 36,000.
2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, a police vehicle.
Yeah, that's what they're getting it on. And like I say, we do the top end, and you can see it's right $4,800, which you're putting a new top end on a bottom end motor, it's got 91,000 miles on it.
Bottom out.
Steve will bust the rings in it.
RT Clap?
Well, like I say, I'll get a quote from down there, and if they're any cheaper, like we can go where it's down there to, the auto tickets are cheaper.
So you want to,
$25 in there.
Yeah, that's their mechanic price.
so you want to spend the 8,477, is that correct?
No,
He's gonna get a third quote.
that would quote, and see if it's any cheaper than the 7,500.
Is this Charlie's car chief?
Yeah.
Is it?
What council can do is make a motion a second to authorize the chief to spend the $7,300 plus $250 for this Jasper rebuilt motor. But in the event he's able to get an equivalent Jasper rebuilt motor for less, I'll authorize him to buy that one. And see, that'll get us maybe a week ahead, several days ahead on getting it repaired.
So anybody want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion to that effect.
I second.
Got a motion, second, any more discussion? Call the roll, please, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Let me ponder on that.
I'll come back to you. Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Don Shelby,
Yes.
Robert Miller,
It's coming out of drug money, right?
No.
Coming out
I'm
of
not as good.
Police Department
No, this
budget.
comes out of our budget.
your budget.
You want me recorded as abstaining?
Three minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Fire chief here?
We got the beer board.
Oh, yeah, we can after this, yeah. Fire chief? He's here. Right out of Wichita.
Yes, sir. The only thing I've got tonight is, we put a new member on, after Rob Thomas about it, Corey Leard. He lives in North Duke Place. And, he's been a member with Marlowe now for 3 to 4 years. Got all of his initial training, trying to finish up. Been trying to get him on for about a year, year and a half. And finally the schedule's going to work with it to be able to give us some hours and help our attendance a little bit more. That puts us up to 25 members on the department of the 30 that I'm allotted, so just want to give you guys.
He's the man you wanted, right?
He,
Do we need a vote,
he's,
Joe?
out of, all the applicants, he's the only man I got. So.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do a motion for it. Anybody got a motion to hire, or to put Corey Leard, is that how you spell it?
Yes, L-E-I-R-D.
L-E-I-R-D,
I make the motion to put Corey Leard,
as a volunteer.
volunteer partner.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Don Shelby.
Yes.
Thanks, sir. Old business? New business. Ready? Strap on, let's go. Discuss and possibly approve a 2018-19 budget amendment, general fund, drug fund, and gas fund. Those are 3 pages on that.
I make the motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. There's, each one will have to be voted on, so you're going to be doing it on the, this motion will be for the
General fund.
general, no, not general fund, we're right now.
We have one for general, one for gas, and one for
The
drug.
first one is for the gas fund, which is
Yeah,
state
that's
street
the
aid.
first one.
Yeah. I make a motion for State Street Aid.
And we'll do them all in the group?
You can.
You could, I guess. Well, first one's gas fund, the second one is for general fund, and the third one is for drug fund.
I want to make everybody aware of something though. On the third one, it's for the, this is where the money will come from for the lawnmower that will be next to be voted on. I want everybody to be aware that that's what this is. This is where the money's coming from. So if you vote for this, you don't have to vote for the lawnmower, but that's where the money comes from if you approve the lawnmower. So the two are, this is where the money comes from for the lawnmower. for
That's
the
the general
farm.
fund.
Yes.
I got it on my second one. Is it your
It's the
first?
second one, yes.
Okay, second.
I don't have that, no.
It should be,
No.
it's on this right here. Here, take this, take mine.
These two.
the second page.
Second page of that one is-
Okay. So we got all three together. Has everybody reviewed them and had a chance to look at them and ponder them?
Got a motion, need a second.
Yeah, we need a second, yes. Who made the motion? Okay, pass.
I'll say.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Those are state street aid, right?
No, that one we just did is, one of them's gonna be general fund, State Street aid, and the other one is, gas. Gas is street aid, I'm sorry. Then the
Sure.
second one is general fund,
And drug-
and the third one is the drug fund. So, you've got a motion, you've got a second, any discussion? Okay, call the roll, please, John.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Tom Schindler.
Yes.
Next item is B, Thomas just touched on that one. That's to purchase a new lawnmower, except grasshopper, like the two new ones we already got, and that would be for parks only use. And we maintain the parks with one more, instead of having all three of them down there too, maybe.
And here's the situation, the two mowers that we're retiring out, we haven't decided whether we're going to sell them or give them to the water and wastewater plant to help them with their mowing needs. But what's been going on is that, as you all know, we've hired back Eddie Kelly, and the mower issue has become, he's been having to use his own mower. And because he has to use his own mower, we really shouldn't ask that of him. He's really going above and beyond by doing that. I do feel that if we do buy one of the grasshopper mowers like we have for the right-of-ways, that he'll take good care of it. I wouldn't have any reservations of having him have a mower, knowing how well he'll take care of it. The mower will be dedicated to him. It'll be kept in the fence at the police department if he'll allow it. And will be dedicated just to him to take care of it. I do think he will.
Now, this-
I trust him.
All parks is mowed with this one, right?
Yes, sir.
Arrowhead, Carmichael,
All parks.
All
will go with
parks.
this one, yes.
that will be mowed by him.
We did this once before, several years ago, and I made the motion that it would only be used there, and it wasn't 2 months that everything broke down and we had to use it on the highway, so we have to be real stern with this one. We might even keep one of the old ones just for substitute. We
Yeah,
can always go to get it,
yeah.
water plant or the sewer plant.
Yeah, if we keep them down there, we could. They're not the kind of mowers that, they've been rode so hard and put up wet, that the two old ones that we've already, retired, they're okay for like a small yard, like a water plant or a wastewater plant, which is actually a big yard, but not for the 8 hours of use that these things will get doing the normal kind of work. So the question is whether to sell them or to give them to the water plant, wastewater plant, but they're not in good enough condition. He'll spend more time working on it on his day there than you would doing what he's supposed to do, making those parks look nice.
And what kind of money are we talking about?
$9,800. I got 4 quotes here, and it's the same price. The Ag Center Farmers Cooperative said they would honor the price that we bought the other ones at for $9,800. And we even called him to see if he could have it here a little quicker, because he'll have to start mowing coming up this weekend and Friday.
So are you gonna take $5,400 out of the state maintenance contract to buy this?
Yes, sir.
Not taking it out of there, that is extra money that has came in above our budgeted of revenue. That's
Is it
extra
still
revenue.
state
That's-
maintenance? Is it still state maintenance money?
No, that's not on the State Street aid.
But it's listed as state maintenance contract.
Right, that's the code that the revenue went into, but it's not a restricted fund. We can use it wherever we want.
So the auditors can't come back and say that we use state money to buy something for the city parks.
No, you're talking about gas fund. If we paid for it out of the gas fund, we couldn't do that. But this is not in the gas fund. This is where when they come out, our people mow the 4-lane and stuff, we send in things to the state to get reimbursed. That's that extra money that we have sent in. that has paving money and everything that has been reimbursed to us.
I'll make a motion we buy the lawn, just for the parks only.
I agree, and I'll see to it, all time here, that's where it stays.
Just needs to be.
Got a motion, need a second?
Question,
Yes, sir.
do we have to purchase a trailer to haul it on to?
No.
We have some extra trailers, I never thought of that, but,
No, we won't.
okay.
We got one that sits empty most of the time.
A small one?
Well, I don't think he has a problem using his own, not to speak for, but I thought he had.
Now, he does have a problem using his own.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, he complains when he uses his own. I asked him this past weekend to use his own, but we assisted him since it was so far behind and all this water damage we had down there. And Mr. Brown at Roane County is gonna help us smooth out some of those ruts and stuff down there and, where he can mow everything with it. But inmates has mowed, helped him lots the last 2 weeks, so to keep it, trying to get the parks back in shape where they washed away almost. Okay, got a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion, got a second. Is there any more discussion?
Where's the rest of the money from? General fund?
It's all coming on item number 2 on the budget amendments. It is the state maintenance contract for $5,400, burial plots $3,000, and other court revenue for $2,000, and all leaving the moving into capital outlay for parks.
That is all line items that has been above the money that was originally put in the budget.
Okay, and I'll explain a little bit on the 3,000 on the burial plots. We've been using the other 2 more to mow it, so we figured this is kind of a trade-off to take that first 3,000 we made on those first 6 plots. So we won't hit that with routine maintenance anymore probably, if we can at all help it. Okay, we got a motion, got a second. Any more discussion? Call roll, please, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Ron Shelby.
Yes.
Passed.
Okay, this next item will be discuss and possibly approve the required upgrade proposal for local government software.
Do we do that every year?
We've been working on this for a little while, haven't we?
We have a maintenance fee that we have to pay every year, but this year, instead of paying the full maintenance fee that we normally do, which is well over $20,000, we want to take that to purchase new equipment, because we won't have to pay a maintenance fee on that the first year that we purchase.
It'll be kind of an offset.
What are we purchasing?
We're purchasing new workstations, 3 for my office, 2 for BJ's office, 2 for the courtroom out fire hall. The software to upgrade from FlexGen to NextGen, that'll be able to supply reports that we never had before access to. And it's just an upgrade in overall
So you're
software.
doing a major system upgrade is what you're doing.
Yes,
Yeah. And they're paying for it through not having to pay the maintenance fees of the current system. The current system has an end of life coming up where updates will be hard to get, and the action needed tonight is the approval of the sales proposal from local government. It's in the packet that looks like this.
their server is about
And
to
you can
die
tear this
out.
page off, and this is the sales proposal information, and in it is the costs and everything that's involved with doing it. And we budgeted this year inside of the general fund budget to have this built in with the knowledge that by offsetting maintenance costs to old equipment, we can have new software, updated equipment, and equipment in better strategic locations for about the same amount. And we offset the cost of this with the maintenance fees that would just be given to them anyway to maintain the old
And that's
stuff.
not all coming out of general fund, because
That's right.
there is a portion that comes out of water department.
Because of her stuff,
Yes, because she's on local government, you know, her utility billing and the payroll and all that stuff, we share all that.
Is there any comes out of court because you use that one back there for court? for-
Yes. There's about $4,000 or $5,000 a year we pay on maintenance fee for the court.
That covers here in Norwood too?
Well, Norwood will be new.
It will be.
The workstations out there will be new. And what that'll do is that'll give us access to have one in the back office there and this workstation up front so that they can be two people working at the same time. Because with the increase we've had in our court out there, we have to have two people working it or we'd never get out there. It's been extremely large.
What is all this gonna do if we approve it?
We started in July.
July.
So we won't have to pay for it till July.
But we can have it immediately?
Yes, they'll start working on it, getting the stuff together immediately. And the installation will start, it'll be in phases. Like they'll work on, say, water department, get theirs up and running. Then they'll work on my office and get that up and running.
Will there be any downtime?
No, that's why they're doing it in phases. Like they may go through the utility, get that upgraded. Then they'll work on software. Then, you know, it'll just be steps at a time. So there won't be any downtime.
Free training?
They are supposed to come in and train us, yes.
No cost?
I'm sorry.
No
that's
cost,
the
or
cost
just
is included
built
in
in?
that. Cost is included in that.
Is that the cost that's right here?
Yeah, that's the total
36.
cost.
I'll make a motion to approve the upgrade. Local government software.
Got a motion, need a second.
I'll second it.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? Further discussion?
How good's this for? 10 years?
At least.
Okay, got a motion, second. Any more comments? Call the roll, please, Joe.
Art Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Don Shillings.
Yes.
Passed.
Okay, our next item is to discuss and possibly approve the 2019 and 2020 general fund budget.
Okay, everyone, before you tonight is this budget right here. What this budget does is, it sets the tax rate at current tax rate. This is the ordinance for the budget for June, for the 2019-2020 budget year. It sets the tax rate. The tax rate stays the exact same as it was last year at $1.32. There is a transfer from unappropriated fund balance of $9,805. The budget is the same that was presented to you guys during the last budget workshop. There's been no changes to it. And it has been advertised, and the minimum requirement of notice has been met. So this is ready to be approved if you guys see fit.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Line item 620, under notes. Why did it go up from 11.8 last year to 18.4 this year?
What's that on?
What page is that, sir? 620, you say the item number on the bottom.
What's the function code on?
It's above civil defense, let me look at here.
It went up like 8,400.
It is. It's under fire.
That's where we was moving it in anticipation of a possible loan for replacement of engine 3.
Okay, that's exactly
So
right.
that just appropriated that money there. It's not being touched because we're still waiting. If you remember prior 2018 budget cycle, I applied for an AFG grant. That appropriation, when we done all that, we contingent on a possible loan to replace engine 3 at that time as well, just in case that grant fell through. We ain't even got anything back on that grant because of the budget shutdown back prior to Christmas. All that did was, once that money was freed up from payment of that loan, is just move that money around. And what I did was move from capital outlay that we paid out this year, as far as what was going to be going towards a possible vehicle that was budgeted last year that we got for free. Instead, move that money into that line item. That's it.
Okay, about the $15,000 we paid off on the note last year.
That is that note.
That's
And that
15,000.
plus the 25 that come out of budget this year, that was not ready to, that got replaced last appropriations, when you guys moved money last week, or 2 weeks ago.
We had to do a budget amendment to replace the money that was paid out.
That
It wasn't
was,
planned on being paid out. It was
Those
paid off
overspent.
early. It was spent and paid out early.
and when you guys paid that off, it paid off the 11,000 for this year that was budgeted, plus 25 that was in that line.
Plus the interest.
Well, you had to pay off the full note that was remaining.
Right.
So that was 25,000 that was remaining on that note. And when you done that, that money didn't automatically go back in that line item. So we had, like, if you look at this year's budget on the actual, on that line item, pollution control, which on the current for that one, it's not been readjusted, but on that line item, if you pull up the current, it's $25,000 to cover that line item in that budget, or that note being paid off.
For 620?
For 620, which freed up money in case we needed to apply for a loan to replace engine 3.
Yeah, there's two schools of thought on that, and we were gonna bring it in front of the council for everyone to decide. We have to fix the engine no matter what. It's broke right now. So either we fix it at a large cost, or we replace it with a drawn out cost, and we put the money in there to help cover that and have it budgeted in case that was the direction that we wanted to go. Or we could use that money towards the repair of it. But we kept the money in there, which was deducted out because it was already paid for, but his budget didn't go up or down. It stayed pretty much static by leaving that in as a safety net, either to cover the cost of repair or the cost of a loan to buy a slightly used one. That was a school of thought, but the money will need to be spent to repair that one or to do a loan for another one. There will be an expense.
We'll try that 15.4 then, is what the difference will be.
What?
15,400 will be. You said that the new budget's got 25,000 there instead of 18.4.
No, the 18.4 is, I did not add in any budget. What's currently that we paid out this year, out of that budget line item. I'm saying that when we paid off that note, that freed up that note money, which was 4,000.
Yeah.
On the interest, I left it what was going to be the same for the coming year, which is the 840. And then I just moved all that money into that one line item to cover the expense of what is anticipated for loan payment, which is right at $17,500, the last quote I got. And that's depending on the interest rate, so. Like I said, that's not money that I'm going to touch. It's there in case we decide to do that, and I'll bring that at a later date when I get a definitive answer on AFG.
Right.
So ideally, I'd rather pay 5% of 350,000, 350 or 375, whichever one you guys approve. I applied for 350 before, that's why that number's still in my mind.
I got a question. Why do you want a four-door cab instead of a commercial?
The commercial cab, I still want commercial four-door. And the point behind the four-door is it's safer. So if we go to a custom, it's safer as far as rollover protection than it is for a two-door. And then the second part is that I'm trying to limit the amount of POV traffic. Gets our guys off the road out of their POVs, that is a liability for us in the department, especially on mutual aid costs.
So the four-door commercial is about $225, $250.
If we buy new, buy demo. If we buy new on a FG, which is what we have to do, it's gonna be about $350, $375.
For a commercial?
For a commercial. For a custom,
You're looking-
400 plus.
Yeah.
If you get it 400, you got steal. If you get it 450, you're doing good. 500 plus is
More
more
like five, yeah.
On used, commercial value as far as resale is lower. Most communities hold on to those.
Right.
It's the custom cabs, and they're running anywhere right now between, I found a couple at 95 for the year range I'm looking at. And then I found a couple, some of the better ones, lower mileage, is right about that 150,000 mark, which is still putting it at almost a 15 to 20-year-old piece of apparatus. But we're still getting the GPM rating higher. So that's also why that money is a little bit more, because instead of a 1250 pump,
You're on the
going
1500.
to 1500, because my fear is next ISO rating, our GPM requirements going to jump up, which right now we're maxed out. 1250 equals 2500.
On 1500 GPM, what's the biggest tank you can get, 1250?
Going for 1,000 to 750, because looking for more equipment space on the back end of it, and it lightens up the load to be able to pump lower horsepower motor, still be able to turn the pump, and not have to have the cost increase based on the motor and the engine side. Because as you know, with the EPA requirements now, the bigger that motor goes, the bigger that truck goes.
Yeah.
And I'm limited by space.
We're all getting educated with this, but if we buy a new truck, that's gonna come up again, what we buy, so all we need to do is vote on the budget. This time, all these questions are great. When we get down to the nitty gritty and we're gonna buy something, then we'll approve which type of truck we're gonna get. Is that all right with you, Mr. Brown?
Oh, my question, well, you talking about the 17.5 for the payment. That's why the difference is in there.
That's why that difference is in there. That's the only reason I moved that money there. Other than that, it's there. That's it. And at the end of the year, it'll just roll away. Like,
Go back into savings if no decisions are made.
Any more questions?
No, sir.
I got a question.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, it's not on that, it's a different area.
Oh, go ahead.
Help me out, Thomas.
Yes, sir.
I'm confused. On the cemetery, 435,500, you know, you got $2,500
Yes.
that we budgeted. Okay. Back, you got, where's our chart, where's the line item for our new, when we're selling? I noticed you got cemetery charges, 350, nothing. Oh, we got a different line item for that or what? How's that
When you
work?
sell the plots, that shows up in revenue, not in your
Yeah,
expenditures,
this is
not in your
expenditures.
43500 code.
Yeah, these will be all your expenditures.
How, I thought we can only use that for cemetery.
Only if you set it up for, right now, the way it's set up, it's all goes to the general fund, am I correct?
Yes,
But it's not like say if you were to set it up as a special revenue fund, like how sanitation is set up, and that'll be the next step that we'll be doing pretty soon. That,
when it gets self-supported.
So like a perpetual care.
So right now it's just
always fund.
in general fund, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And anything above what is budgeted, we will put back into there.
Okay,
Budget.
last question, I'll leave it alone. You have Cemetery maintenance, well, okay, you zeroed it out. I'm through.
Yeah. Okay, do we have a motion? And a second, Joe, where we stand?
Need a motion and a second.
We got a motion, and a second, any further
We need
discussion?
one.
Oh,
I'll make a
that's what you said, okay. Need a motion, I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
I got a motion and I got a second. Any further discussion on the budget? Call the roll, please, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass.
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Don Shelby.
Yes.
Okay, moving right along.
Omer,
Yes, sir.
while we're here talking about budget, I was gonna do it next meeting, but if we can do it right now, to do
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
60,000 earmarked from this current budget, moved over into this other budget as a resolution. I think that's how you do that, for earmarking money to be spent. Because I didn't want it to come out of it's already monies we've already collected, but we're gonna have future collections on this money, but that money hasn't been spent. But to move it over, I believe it's done by a resolution to earmark for the park, Arrowhead Park
Talk
bathroom.
about the
The
bathroom.
60,000. So, I guess a resolution to move over 60,000
That would
from,
have to be typed up with a number, wouldn't it?
Joe, real good at that.
Well, I guess it could be, but, you know, you could make the motion to pass it and give an ordinance number, and then when it gets printed out, we just put the ordinance number on it.
Is that good with
But
everybody?
it'd have to have an ordinance number on it instead of.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to, but I would assign it on, so you can track it.
Is that everybody for that?
So you want to break it out what we expect.
State what you want, Thomas, Mr.
Okay.
Thomas.
Yes, sir, I want to bring it out so that I can spend it next year in the future, because once July 1st gets here, that budget stops, and I need to spend it in the future, but I don't have it in this budget. It's going to be earmarked to be spent from then to then. So I guess a resolution to earmark
We need to
$60,000
spend it.
on the parks bathroom. Yeah, I want to spend it bad.
Okay.
I would think that the motion read, motion to move $60,000 from the 2018-2019 fiscal year general fund budget to the 2019-2020 fiscal year general fund budget earmarked for the Arrowhead Park bathroom construction. And then when you have it printed up, you'd have a line item in this year's budget and move it to a line item in next year's budget and just stick it in the minute book.
You all right with that? Ramona, Ms. Ramona, you all right with
Yeah,
So
that makes
moved.
it restricted
I'll make a
funds so that
motion.
it can't be used for
Second.
anything else.
that? Got a motion, got a second?
Okay, who made the motion, who made the second?
Okay, he made the motion, Mr. Miller made the second. Any more discussion? Give Joe a little time to write this down, then we'll call it. Call the roll, please.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Don Shelby.
Yes.
Passed.
Okay. Item E under 13 is discuss and possibly approve to install Carmichael fencing.
Oh, hold on one second, Homer.
You wanted to speak on
There's
that?
also D, there's
Okay, possibly approve the, no?
there's the sanitation with the general fund, there's also.
Yeah, the
the
sanitation budget, I'm
sanitation
sorry.
budget.
I've got it right here, I'm sorry. Okay, that is an ordinance to 2019-2020 sanitary budget, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I didn't see it on the agenda.
it's here.
It's all rolled into,
It's
Oh,
all in
okay,
there.
yeah. Yeah, I've seen the copy, yeah.
and this has no rate increase involved with it. It will actually have a little money left over if everything goes well. It should be,
It's a single
looks
page like
this.
this.
I think this is a single.
Where was stuff, go back to that.
But I had it here.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second, any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Don Shelby.
Yes.
Passed.
And we need to do the
State Street.
State
Aid.
Street Aid also, right?
Yes, sir.
It's a single page,
Uh,
highways and streets.
I'll make a motion we approve the State Street Aid budget.
Okay? Got a motion, need a second?
A second.
Got a second, any discussion? Has everybody got it in front of them? Yes, sir. Any discussion? Call the roll, please, Shelley.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Ron Chip.
Yes.
I think we got one more, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Drug fund?
Yes, drug fund. The drug fund is ordinance number we'll get. We'll need a motion to approve the drug fund. Total revenue projected, total available fund. Total proposed appropriations, everybody got a copy of that? Here's what it looks like. Here's what it looks like. Single page. Should be in the those others. You got it?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Need a motion after you review it.
Make a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Okay. Need a second?
I second.
You got Mr. Brown second. Any more discussion? Or any discussion? Call the roll, please, Shelley.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Ron Chip.
Yes.
Passed.
It was that the last one of those, I believe? Catch me if I'm missing it.
That's everything.
Okay, now we're ready to discuss and install, to possibly approve to install our fencing for Carmichael Park.
Yes, sir, this is part of the Carmichael Park project. If we all remember, there were four different contracts of the Carmichael Park project that was bidded on, or sealed bidded on, and Holston Construction got they had the ability to get all three, but to save costs, we chose to do number 4 in-house. I believe their bid was approximately $32,000, but we said we could probably do that better. It consisted of the fencing of the ball field. It consisted of buying 2 sets of bleachers. It consisted of getting bases for the like the pitcher's mound, and so the fencing is what we're here to talk about tonight. The fencing, as I said, it came out as a total lump sum for all those things as $32,000, and one of the largest items here was fencing, and we were able to get basically this is for 520 feet of 4-inch galvanized chain link fence with 3 12 by 10 foot backstops and a dugout that will be 6-foot fence, approximately, 5 by 10 dugouts for the price of $7,800. So by us taking that contract 4 out and bidding it out ourselves, we did a good thing, guys. This came out really well.
And that was 4-foot fencing instead of 4 inch.
Oh, did I say 4 inch? My goodness, it's not 4 inch.
He's testing me again.
I'm testing all of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that the Lowe's bid?
No, sir. Lowe's came in for 80, yeah,
He had that laid
85.
out, but we got this.
And we thought we were going to go with Lowe's, but last minute, B and M fencing came in at $7,800, where Lowe's had came out. Really, Lowe's came out at $11,000, but we asked them to go down in price because it was for a park, and they lowered the price down to $8,504, and we thought we hit the lottery. But then D&M Fencing, a local fencing company, came out with $7,800, and I hated that they left money on the table, but it's our game. Hope they're not watching tonight.
There was only 2 that bid on it?
Well, we met with approximately 4 or 5 of them, but even Home Depot didn't send me a bid back.
Philip Svensson didn't want to bid on it?
I don't remember.
No quote out there, fax,
Oh.
paperwork, plans,
Yeah.
called twice, no quotes.
That's right.
Oh, that's
We
weird.
tried local
He
first.
bid on that.
I know, 'cause we're really big on having the local guys do for us because they're connected to the community. And, I guess the project worked out. We got D&M Fencing that was a low bid as well.
I'll make a motion that we approve the
Okay, got a motion, need a second. Motion, need a second.
I second.
Okay. Got a second, Mr. Brown. Any more discussion?
I'd like to know this has got to be, what, the last part of this project? Baseball field?
No, it's not the best part.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, there's a lot to it. There's, electrical wires got to be moved by CUB. There's trees that got to be cut by CUB or our contract.
I'm still seeing it that,
We took this section thinking we could do it a lot cheaper, which we are. And this would have been included in the contract for the other guy, but he was going to charge us a lot more. We had to break down.
I'm just seeing though, that are they ready for a ball field?
No, but it's a 4-week lead time on the parts,
It's
and
landscaping
then the installation, and then the
The
installation.
dirt been moved, some bunch of trees been pushed down.
Okay, well, I'm just seeing that we appropriated this and it don't look like what, till the end of
We've got August 14th.
August, you know, that ball field included in the August deal, or that on their own?
No, ball field's got to be completed August 14th. The only exception, we could have the ball field built and electrical, for instance, not moved because of their work schedule, and we would just not be able to open it until we got a final inspection and electrical was done and final inspection.
Yeah, Omer's right, we could lose funding if we don't get it done by the August 14th date.
Okay, I'm fine.
So we're trying to get all that maneuvered around where if we have to go past that, it's a hardship thing. And we talked to our guys today, and they give us good news. We possibly can get it through. It's not normal, but we can possibly get it through. Okay, did we get a vote on that? Did we get a
I ready for the roll
We
call.
ain't got discussion.
Okay, discussion. We're finished on discussion yet? No.
Is that the quote, that little old email text looking thing?
No.
That's all they sent us. They gave it to us at the
Yeah.
11th hour, right before the
Yeah,
meeting.
then we added it over here, I think. Right here, we put a note on your second page.
Because what
I just
happened,
meant far as from them.
Yeah, yeah.
because I met with him well, actually, he talked with the engineer. I didn't meet with him. He talked with the engineer, and the engineer walked him through how much fencing and the size of the
Went over the
fencing.
diagram with it.
Yeah, and a diagram, so.
See, that electrical line goes over the field, and it's 7,200 volts or something like that. It's high voltage. So it can't go, yeah, it can't go over it. It has to be done to CUB. We can't get no cheap work there. Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. All right, do we have a motion?
Now, is this fence out from underneath the high voltage?
That's next.
That's
No,
next.
I mean, is the fence underneath the high voltage?
The high voltage is going to get moved, and that's going to be our next expense that we're
No,
going
the
to
fence will be inside the high voltage. It'll be inside about 20 feet, probably more on the roadside, right? 30
Yeah,
feet.
right now it goes right over where it's going to be, but it has to be
Crosses directly
moved.
over it.
So, I mean, what I'm getting at, it'd be out of clearance, so it doesn't have to be grounded.
That's a requirement that it'd be outside the field. They can't be
So
over.
they don't have to ground it.
Yeah, well, probably not, the CUB's doing it, so they'll do whatever.
Well, I meant the fence.
Oh, the
It has to be
ground.
grounded if it's underneath the high
Yeah.
voltage.
Well, we probably hurt to do it anyway.
Yeah, and they require us.
Have that in here.
Yeah, we probably, that'd be cost, you probably do that for us.
So these we talked about. 500 something.
Yeah, it's about 500 South feet. Okay, where we at? I'm sorry.
Ready for a vote.
Pardon?
Discussion is complete, ready for a vote.
Okay, let's go, vote.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Don Shelby.
Yes.
I'm gonna miss 11 o'clock news. Okay, our next one is item F, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Item
Okay.
F. Item F has changed from what is written. It's changed. It's gotten more complicated. As you all know, the Carmichael Park project, this project has a deadline of August 14th, and it is going smoothly. There are a few things the town is doing to cut costs and ensure the project is completed by the August 14th deadline. To ensure grant funding of the project, one of the items being done in-house is the coordination of the right-of-way tree removal with CUB. This is the power lines that need to be removed due to the fact power lines are not allowed overhead of a play area in a park. So, Homer and I met with CUB and Wolf Tree Trimming today and began the process of obtaining the quotes for the right-of-way clearing. This right-of-way clearing is 10 feet on both sides of the stakes, which represent where a power pole is going to be located. While we were out with CUB and the tree trimming company, the issue of cost was discussed. And once Wolf Tree Company had left, we had discussed with CUB what they think that the projected cost could possibly be for a project of this size. And in their opinion, it may be over $20,000. So, I have two things, ways to fix this. Number one, the deadline we must have the project completed by is August 14th. And the purchasing policy must be followed for all reimbursement requests. As the purchasing policy followed will be the determination of if it is reimbursable or not. So however, our purchasing policy has a provisions in it that it has to have sealed bids for anything over $10,000. If we are required to do sealed bids, we will miss our deadline. I need two actions tonight. Number one, I recommend changing the purchasing policy and allowing $25,000 to be approved as per the maximum state allowance for purchases without sealed bids. So the change would be this: between $5,000 and $25,000 would require a PO, purchase order, and 3 quotes, and the approval of town council. And everything over $25,000 would require sealed bids. As of right now, I left these on the copy machine. Pass those around. This is the current purchasing policy. What the change is going to be that I'm recommending is between $5,001 and $10,000, the PO and 3 quotes with town approval. I'm requesting that $10,000 to be changed to $25,000. And number 2, the town council approve allowing Omer Cox to accept the lowest or best bid from the tree trimming companies for the right-of-way tree clearing not to exceed $25,000.
Where we gonna get that $25,000, Mayor?
Right now, we
You get
have,
reimbursed for it.
we should get some reimbursement, he's right. We have budgeted,
We don't know for sure.
but we don't know for sure. It depends what the total project comes out for. Right now, we have $27,000 allotted for the right-of-way and for the CUB costs that run the new power poles. CUB's cost is coming in at $16,000, which leaves us $11,000, and Anderson County has agreed to put on their agenda to give us $10,000 as well. So that gets us around $21,000. So we're pretty close to that mark. And that's what I would recommend, because if we miss the deadline on the power poles, anything past August 14th isn't reimbursable, even if it was reimbursable. And we have to meet the deadlines. Now, we talked with the grant administrator today, and he said that with a tree company having to do the work and with another entity that is a utility, such as CUB, they may allow us an extension if this takes too long. But it still will take longer than it would be if we were to bid it. Because to bid it, you got to write specs, you got to advertise, you got to give invites, you got to give time to review, you have to review, you get an engineer letter, you have to then get a reading in the council and line that up right. So we'll blow our timeline, and that'll be our fault. Now, if CUB is the holdup because they're too busy or a storm happens, they're not able to show up on time, the grant administrator is going to talk with TDEC to see if they'll extend the deadline because of that. And that's what we're asking right now. But in the meantime, we have to act as if there is going to be no extension. And if we could get the purchasing policy amended and then give Omer Cox the permission to take the lowest bid not to exceed $25,000, if we could get those two things, then we'll be able to make sure that the project moves on with the same ability that it's moving on now. I just don't want a minor technicality of we've restricted the purchasing policy to be the stop of the reimbursements. And if y'all want, you can even put a sunset clause on it and say you know, a new administration, it goes back to the original one in 2017 that was passed, or you can just redo it once the project is done and change it to whatever you want to change it to. But that's what I would recommend. So the two actions that I need tonight is I recommend changing the purchasing policy and allowing $25,000 to be approved as per the maximum state allowance, and to change the line right here where it says between 5,001 and 10,000, change that to between 5,001 and 25,000 with a PO 3 quotes and town approval. Because you guys will still approve anything over $5,100. It's just, I won't have to get a sealed bid for something over 10,000. That would be the ideal thing. Y'all still approve it, everything comes in front of you. It would be the same as if I did a sealed quote bid. All those sealed quote bids would come in front of you as well to approve, except for this cuts out that timeline that I have to do with all the requirements of a sealed bid and costs.
Okay, echoing Mr. Miller, again, where are we getting the money from to start with?
There's $27,000 allotted for the removal of the lines and for CUB to move the power poles. They're going to come in. They've given us a quote of $16,000 is what they told me last for their part of moving the lines, which leaves $11,000 for the right-of-way clearing. Now, there's also Anderson County. Terry Frank is putting on her budget amendment tonight to have, or is it next meeting? Next meeting. To give us $10,000. To give us $10,000, which gives us around $21,000 that could be dedicated towards this. So we're pretty close. 21 and 25 is the max, not to exceed. So I need those two actions tonight, if that's all possible.
But you don't have to, since we're doing a grant, and we can still get out of the 3 bids, even though it's for a grant.
We got 3 bids. I'm still getting them. They haven't all came in yet. We've got the first one today. I've got another one tomorrow. I've called another one that wasn't able to do it. Okay.
But see, if we don't get these 3 bids in lower enough to handle this, we ain't gonna have time to get this approved and hold the project up 2 weeks minimum, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
And Omer's right. If we wait till we had the bids in hand, it would have been the next meeting. And that would have pushed everybody out, especially CUB, who's kind of like a very busy.
You try and get bids, and like Wolf Tree, they're tied up they're never finished with what they're doing. They're contract with CUB and other utilities, and to just get them out to meet with you, it takes weeks sometimes, and and the CUB is the same way. They evidently got a lot of work going on, but to get them to show up. For instance, we were promised by a logger, and I won't call his name, that he would do this and get the trees off the property for nothing as a donation.
How long did you wait on that?
So waited about 2 weeks on an answer, but he was supposed to show up last Saturday to meet with me, and he didn't show up at the park. So we don't know. He still might be good with that.
He's amazing.
But we don't know for sure yet.
And if these trees...
He would take the logs and keep them as part of his pay, and he would remove the debris or burn it.
And if these trees aren't removed, then CUB can't remove the power lines over the park play area.
So we're doing this 5K change just for this here, or for this .4 for everything?
Well, it's both. This here, but it will continue forever until y'all change it back.
Change it back as immediately after we close
Yeah,
this
you
one out.
can change it back as soon as you can.
I prefer that. That's what we voted on before, is to get it.
In all honesty, though, the 25,000 instead of the 10,000, that probably should be there anyway, because you guys vote on 3 quotes, or you'll vote on sealed bids just the same. But sealed bids take like 2 months. So it's the same, y'all vote on it exactly the same. The only real difference is that one, you had to do advertisements in the paper, an engineer had to write the specs to get it right, because everything had to be spelled out exactly what they're doing. Same with 3 quotes, of course, but they can talk to us. And it will shave a lot of time off. I would actually recommend changing to 25,000 and leaving it, because the only difference is all that is y'all vote for it anyway. So the only difference is that it's faster. And in today's time, $10,000 is, gosh, what we're paying for a lawnmower. I mean, it's expensive, everything in the
I
world
think
is
there was a
expensive.
reason that was changed in 2017, probably, wouldn't it?
Might
I
have
don't
been.
remember why it was changed, but it was changed. It
We
was
went
my,
up in 20, I was there then.
The comptrollers, was it the comptrollers, Ramona?
I'm sorry.
When we raised this, on our, purchasing, was it the comptroller's office or was it the auditors that told us we need to raise our dollar
It was
amounts?
originally raised when David Bowen came on board because he felt like he needed approval to do things to a certain amount. That was done a long time ago,
That was in 2012.
2005, or 6 when he first came on board.
So pretty much everything is the exact same except for the limit is raised and the sealed bid gets pushed higher money. But either way, y'all vote on it and y'all see it. There'd be nothing that would come, that wouldn't come in front of you that would be done. It would, the difference is it 3 quotes and a PO, or was it done by sealed bids? That's the only difference.
Sorry.
I would recommend that we change it to 25 to expedite this procedure because if we don't, we're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion, we change it to 25,000.
got a motion, need a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? I promise I won't spend the money unless I talk to you guys. It'll
Do we
come
need
up
to change that next line too then?
Yeah, the next line changes as well,
It
to over
changes.
25.
25.
Any more discussion? Call roll, please, Shelley.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Don Shelby.
Yes.
Passed.
Okay.
What's the next thing you need, Thomas?
Adjourn.
Mayor's approval?
Oh.
Our approval with mayor permission?
Oh gosh, you're exactly right. Man, you're on top of it. The next thing that I need is, I need town council's approval allowing Omer Cox to accept the lowest or best bid from the tree trimming company for the right-of-way tree clearing not to exceed $25,000.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion, need a
You
second.
guarantee we're getting all this back, right?
No,
You're not?
I can't guarantee
That's
that.
what you said a while ago.
We'll have a
Have you got your
higher,
notary stamp with you, anybody?
yeah, I'll just sign this.
We got a motion, got a second.
We'll have a higher likelihood.
Miller and Bass, I think, is that right? Miller made the motion, Bass second motion. Any more discussion? You want to bring it up again? You got any more?
No.
Anybody got any more? Call roll, please.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Bass,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Don Shelby.
Yes.
Can we go home now?
No, we got a beer board meeting.
Oh, no.
That should be real quick.
No, I need a, if everybody's through, has anybody got any last minute things they forgot?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn, need a second, those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.